Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of the Fishing Teacher, and much appreciated you guys coming by the channel to check today's video out. Really appreciate that. And guys, today I sort of want to give you a foundational primer on fishing glide baits in the fall time of the year, because in my opinion, the two best months to fish a glide bait are mid-October into about early December. If you gave me any month of the year to fish them and you wanted to learn how to fish them and catch them, this is the time of year. Right now, at the timing of this video, it's the middle of October, so we're in the perfect time of year to catch that good glide bait window. So got some good tips for y'all today in the video. Also, guys, just a quick reminder, I just want to let you know that Tackle Warehouse has got all my Blaukat throwback jigs back in stock again. If you guys would like to get you some of them, I'll put the Tackle Warehouse Blaukat throwback jig link in the description from Cumberland Pro Lures. All my jigs are hand-tied, living rubber skirt, super sharp 4-aught mustad short shank hooks, got a nice keeper in it, horizontal line tie, just the finest jig that you guys will ever fish. And you can't beat live rubber, guys. They're hard to find, labor intensive, but they get a lot more bites, so link in the description there. Okay, guys, glide bait fishing here, man. Few baits are as fun to fish as a glide bait. Number one, the reason they're so fun is that the way that I fish a glide bait is I keep the bait inside all the time. And when you've got these natural, realistic looking glide baits like this Megabass Ice Slide right here, it looks like a big fish coming through the water. And another thing about a glide bait, it will get the attention of the biggest fish in the lake. So it's one of the most fascinating and frustrating things about glide bait fishing is that you get a lot of big fish that will follow this thing, but they don't bite it. So I'm going to give you some tips on how to get those big ones to actually hit the thing. But it's hard to put it down, guys. When you're fishing this big glide bait and you see a 6 or 7 pounder swim up and get this close away from it and swim off, you keep thinking, well, one of them is going to hit it. And that's what you keep throwing it over and over again. And also, guys, I'll put my glide bait link in the description of the video, my Tackle Warehouse link, if you guys want to get you a few glide baits to try some of these techniques out after the video here. Okay, let's talk a little bit about this. Now, the glide baits, there's a lot of different glide baits on the market. So just pick one out that you think looks good to you. Like I said, I'll put that link in the description. I would recommend something in the 6 to 7 inch size. The Ice Slide 185, this is a 7-inch long glide bait. It's about perfect. If you go over 7 inches long, you're gonna really take down the number of strikes you get. I mean, any glide bait over 7 inches long, you really need to be in big fish waters, like, California, Texas, something like that, because you're simply not gonna get many bites on them. But you can get a lot of bites, or not a lot, but you can get bites on a smaller size glide bait, like the 5 to 7 inch size. So try to stay, like I said, 5 to 7 inches. I like the 6 to 7 inch myself. I think that's the perfect size to get the big fish to react to it, along with 2 pounders too. I mean, because the 2 pound fish will hit a 7 inch glide bait without a second thought with it. So pick you out one with that. The next thing before we get into how to fish it and where to fish it is you got to have the right equipment. Excuse me. Now, most of the time, or in fact, not most, but all the time, I throw all my glide baits on 25-pound test, Seagar and Vizix fluorocarbon line. Never use braided line, never use mono, 25-pound test line with that. And I usually throw it on my flipping stick, my Alclys flipping stick. On a 7-inch glide bait like this bait will weigh a couple ounces, so you can throw it effectively on a flipping stick. But if you go up in size on those big ones, like those 10 and 12-inch glide baits, you have to have a heavy action 8-foot rod that's even stiffer than a flipping stick. But for my way of fishing, I like to do it 25-pound test and a flipping stick. Another thing, I'll show you real quick how to work one, guys, is a glide bait, when you reel it through the water, if you just reel it straight through the water like that, it's gonna come through the water with an S like that. Now you can catch a few fish on it, but what you want to do to get the most fish out of a glide bait is you want to sort of work it like a subtle jerk bait. So, throw it out there and reel a little bit, then go boom, boom, boom like that. Just a subtle, like you're working a jerk bait, but subtle. And the way it'll do it is you'll be reeling, it'll come through like that, and you'll jerk it and it'll go like that. And then you jerk it again and it goes back that fast, and back like that. So it has a lot more pronounced side to side movement instead of just this nice slow like that. So I found out that I catch a lot more fish on it, if I do that jerking motion. And also one other thing about it before we get into the area, which is really critical, is that and this is probably out of all the information in this video, this is the most important. When you're working that glide bait out there and the water's clean enough to see it, and you see a fish coming up after that glide bait, if you see what fish swimming at it, you have to speed it up, because glide bait is a big bait, and if that fish gets too close to that bait, they know it's not real. They're gonna study it and they're gonna swim away from it. So if you get, say you're working your glide bait like this and all of a sudden you see a fish swim up to it, don't keep working it just like that. Speed it up. Get the thing moving fast. You know, go like this and get it through the water, just like boom, 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 boom. In other words, if I see one out there, say I'm working it like this and I see one, I'm gonna go boom, 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 and real fast, boom, 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 boom. And I want this thing going all over the place like that, because what happens is when you do that, the fish are either gonna react to that because this thing's getting away and they have to make a split-second decision. It's like, okay, am I gonna let this piece of prey get away from me, or I'm gonna go for it? Most of the time, if you speed it up, you generate that reaction instinct from the fish, and they'll much likely, you know, go after it. But if you just try to keep it going the same pace, 99% of the time they're gonna swim away from it. So when you see one, it's sort of counterintuitive, because you're trying to get the bait away from the fish, and you don't, and as an angler, you say, I want the fish to eat it. I don't want to try to get the bait away from the fish, but do that. Make yourself speed the bait up when you see a fish, and you'll get a lot more reaction strikes with it. Okay, now the important thing here, let's talk about the most important thing. In order to catch fish on a glide bait, you have to have the right day, and you have to have the right set of conditions as far as the water conditions. Here is what you have to have to some degree. It doesn't have to be exactly this, but it needs to be pretty close to this. Number one is you got to have water visibility between like 3 to 8 foot. 3 to 8 foot is going to be perfect. Ideally, I like water visibility around 4 feet. That's perfect glide bait, visibility to me. The next thing with it is you got to have wind. It's very difficult to get bass on a glide bait if there's no wind. So say 4 foot visibility, and I like a windy day of like 10 to 20 mile an hour wind, and cloud cover definitely helps. If you have some type of a cloudy, rainy day combined with the wind and combined with the clear water, especially if that wind's out of the south, that's a perfect glide bait scenario. Water temperatures need to be anywhere between like, say, upper 50s to maybe low 70s is sort of that window. And you have to have a lake that has a decent population of quality fish in there. It doesn't have to be a big fish lake, but you need to have a lake that has a decent population of 3 to 4 pound bass, because it does attract bigger fish. So the smaller fish are naturally going to shy away from that a little bit. You're not going to catch a lot of fish under 2 pounds on a glide bait. The average fish that I catch on a glide bait is probably in that 3 to 4 pound range. So if you have all those factors coming together, it's going to add up to some better fishing. So anyway, guys, that's just a brief overview. If you've never fished glide baits, that's going to give you some good info for that. And we'll do more stuff on this later on, get into more details, but that at least gets you started. So
Okay.
Talk to you later. See you.